Okay, well, welcome everyone. Welcome to today's Getting Certified as a Woman-Owned Business. This webinar is being presented by Colleen Lacoste from the Women's Business Enterprise Center. Colleen is the certification manager there, and she'll give you more details about that. But we really thank Colleen for sharing this important information, and trust all of you who are viewing this will find it very informative and helpful. My name is Mercedes Diaz, and I'm a volunteer business mentor with SCORE of Chester and Delaware counties. SCORE is a nonprofit organization that's been in existence for over 50 years. It's also a resource partner of the Small Business Administration. SCORE's mission is to foster a strong small business community by providing free mentorship and business education. And we are here to support you and help your business grow. Here in Chester and Delaware counties, we have 100 volunteers ready to help. Our mentoring and most of our educational programs are free. And you will find many tools, templates, and other business resources on our website resource library. I'll tell you a little bit more about how to get a hold of SCORE later on after Colleen finishes her presentation. Just a couple of things for you. You will get a copy of Colleen's deck. You will also get a link to some additional resource information that Colleen's provided. And you will also get a link to a recording of today's session. All right. We're going to please ask that everybody mute their phone when they're not speaking. And this way it avoids some of the distractions. But Colleen does encourage everybody to have your video on. So she has kind of an audience that she can interact with, at least virtually. We will be taking questions throughout the presentation. So you can do that by putting something in, entering something into the chat box, entering your question to the chat box, or if you want, you can raise your hand and we will call on you and then you can unmute and ask your question. All right. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Colleen, who's going to share her presentation.
All right, thank you very much. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Awesome. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Mercedes, for that introduction. I am really thrilled to be here today with everybody. My name is Colleen Lacoste. I am the certification manager here at WeBEC East, and I will tell you a little bit about what that means in terms of how we break down our network for our certified businesses. But I really love doing presentations for SCORE and working with SCORE because, you know, you guys are really the boots on the ground. When I talk to business owners and they say, you know, I really want to connect with someone locally, you know, I'm looking for local resources, I 100% of the time always send them to their local SCORE chapter because, you know, you guys are really the resources that we love to send people to. So today I am going to be talking about getting certified as a women-owned business. So before we jump in, I kind of want to get a show of hands just so I know who I'm talking to here. So you can either raise your hand on your camera, or there's also a hand raising function on the menu bar on the screen. So show of hands, who is a brand new business owner, like within the last year or two? How about, okay, so we got a couple. How about established, experienced business owners? You've had your business going for at least, you know, a couple of years. Okay. Great, awesome. Is anyone here still pre-launch, still working on setting up their business? Okay, a couple, great, awesome, good to know. Whoop, I missed one. And then also another show of hands. Is anyone completely unfamiliar with getting certified as a women-owned business? Most people. Okay, awesome. Is anyone familiar with it? Not a lot of people. Okay, anyone currently in the process or already certified? So I know. Okay, one or two. Awesome. All right, so sounds like most people here are either in the process of, they're new business owners or experienced business owners that are, interested in certification, totally new to it. Perfect audience for this presentation. All right, so some things that I'm going to talk about over the next hour. First and foremost, I'm going to go over our whole network of certified businesses and what's available to you through that network. I'm going to talk a little bit about the resources that we have available to you right now. And then I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty of certification. So what is supplier diversity? What does it mean to be a WBE or certified as a WBE? What are the eligibility requirements? The benefits? We'll talk you through the application, the documents. We're going to go into all of that nitty-gritty stuff. So you're in the right place if you are totally new to this process. All right, so WBENC stands for Women's Business Enterprise National Council. It is the national organization and the largest certifier of women-owned businesses in the country. It has over 15,000 certified businesses, and there are over 325 corporate members. And I'll tell you a little bit about what that means to be a corporate member in a second. As a reminder, if everyone can mute themselves if they are not currently having any questions or speaking, that would be great. Thank you very much. All right, so WBENC, as I mentioned, is our national organization. So the certification is a national one. And we break down our network into 14 different regional territories. So we are WBENC East. We drop the N for national, and we have East. We cover Pennsylvania, Delaware, and South Jersey. But the nice thing about when you get certified is that you can participate and be, be active in any of these territories. So, most of us here are with SCORE, Delaware County, Montgomery County, Chester County, in that greater area. But if you have a office out in Seattle, let's say, you can participate in WBENC Pacific and, go to their events and use your certification out there. So it's a really fantastic network to be a part of. So WBENC East, we are your local chapter. We cover, as I mentioned, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and the 8 southern counties of New Jersey. Now, the northern counties of New Jersey are in our New York office. So if you just happen to be here at, you're in New Jersey, or your primary place of business is outside of Pennsylvania, all of this will still apply to you. The requirements, process, eligibility, everything is still the same. So, don't worry about that. I will be happy to send you over to the New York office after this webinar if you're located outside of this territory. But I believe everyone is located either in Pennsylvania, Delaware, at least in the greater Philadelphia area.
Colleen, actually, yes. There is somebody from California. So is there, maybe we can later, you could share a contact out in California.
Yep, California is split between Pacific and West, but again, it's the same process, eligibility requirements, documents, all sorts of stuff.
Okay, great.
Same certification. All right, I should probably pull up my chat box. Here we go. Just making sure I don't have any other questions. Okay.
I think as Colleen said, that the certification is the same no matter where you are.
Yes,
so the information that you will be provided will be applicable to you in all states.
Correct. So, so I saw a question here, registered in Delaware. We actually get a lot of businesses that are incorporated in Delaware because of the tax laws there. But we assign you a region based on your headquarters. So if your headquarters is your home office, which about a third of our businesses are, because you primarily do business online or you're a one-woman show, and you work out of your home office, that's where your headquarters is. So depending on where you are, I have a New York, New Jersey resident in here. Depending on which county you're in New Jersey, you'll either be working with me and my team in the Philly office, or you'll be working out of with the team out of the New York office. But again, it's all still the same. So moving along, we have over 1,500 certified WBEs just in our territory, and over 50 corporations who are members of us in our territory. But again, you can participate in any territory that you do business, are interested in doing business as well, because we have staff all over the country. Moving along. Come on. There we go. I have a fantastic team. A lot of people say, do I need to hire a consultant to get certified? No. 99% of the time, you do not need to hire a consultant. I say 99 because like 1% has like some crazy trust agreement with like a stock option plan or something like that. But if you are, your standard LLC, stock corporation, sole proprietor, you likely do not need to hire a consultant. We are happy to answer any questions that you have about the certification documents that you need for free. Just shoot us an email. We don't want you to have to go spend hundreds of dollars on a consultant. We are happy to help. Some other resources that I just want to throw out to you guys, because we are also a Women's Business Development Center that's funded by the SBA for the Greater Philadelphia region. So we have a lot of either low or no cost resources for you guys. We do a lot of workshops throughout the year, online courses, and one-on-one counseling. Specifically for those of you that are in the earlier stages of your career, of your entrepreneurship career, I should say. There are two courses I want to let you know about that are really low cost or no cost. A lot of people who come through don't end up paying anything because we are funded by a grant, which is great. So Jumpstart is a kind of a pre-launch, helps you evaluate your idea. And then Fast Track is a business plan writing class. For those of you who are preparing to launch your business, it's 10 weeks, includes one-on-one consulting. So please email me if you're interested in either of our launching classes. And also another program that I really wanted to share with you guys, we are doing free business consulting because we got a grant through the CARES Act. And it has allowed us to contract with business consultants in finance, marketing, executive coaching, HR, and we're basically giving these services, we're paying for these services for businesses impacted by COVID. So if you're in the greater Philadelphia area and you would like to speak to a financial advisor, please let me know because I will hook you up with one for free. And literally for free, no strings attached, because we got this grant through the CARES Act. So if you have been impacted by COVID, we're happy to hook you up with some consultants that can help with your business. All right, so let's get into certification, since that's why we are here. So before we jump into the actual application and the eligibility, I want to take a second to talk about supplier diversity, because it's something that a lot of business owners really don't know about, and it is the reason that people get certified. So what is supplier diversity? In a nutshell, it's a business practice that large corporations and government agencies use to take a look at the small businesses that they hire for services, products, as vendors, and make sure that they come from a diverse background. So whether that's women-owned, minority-owned, veteran-owned, there are a bunch of different ways to be considered a diverse small business owner. But that's what supplier diversity is in a nutshell. Now, there are 7 things I want you to take away from this webinar knowing about supplier diversity. First and foremost, there are no rules, which kind of sucks. But every organization, every state is different when it comes to supplier diversity. Every corporation has different rules about what certificate they accept and what their supplier diversity program looks like. Sometimes in a procurement office, they will have a supplier diversity manager who advocates for contracts to be shared with women-owned and minority-owned businesses. Sometimes there's an entire supplier diversity department. Sometimes a corporation will set goals to spend a certain dollar amount or hire a certain amount of businesses in a set year. But every organization and every government agency has different goals, different rules, a different setup. There is no one set way to get involved in supplier diversity in all these organizations. So what can you do about that? Because it makes it so frustrating for small business owners. I always say, take like your 5 to 7 target clients this year and do some research on them. Just Google them, look up the company, Google, Walmart supplier diversity, and find out, what does their supplier diversity program look like? Do they have a supplier diversity program? Do they have a portal where you can register yourself as a certified minority or women-owned business? Do they have a specific person in supplier diversity that you can email? Find out what that looks like, and then you'll know where to go from there. You'll know what certificate to pursue. Now, WBENC is the most widely accepted WBE certificate. So we have, when I mentioned earlier, we have over 325 corporate members. We're talking like big corporations like Verizon, Wells Fargo, Comcast, a lot of the really big players that small businesses want to work for and have a hard time getting in. They're members of us, so it's probably a good place to start, because they wouldn't be members of us if they didn't have supplier diversity programs and accept the WBE certificate. So it's a great place to start. Now, getting into number 2, states and government agencies are a little bit more difficult because it's the government and they are a little bit more stuck in the bureaucratic Stone Age. So it's really important to do your research if you are interested specifically in working with a government entity, whether that's a state or a transportation agency. Now, a lot of times they will want to certify you on your own. So it doesn't matter if you get this national certificate, like I'll give you, for an example, PennDOT. PennDOT specifically has their own certification for the transportation agencies, and they will not accept any outside certificates. You have to get DBE, Diverse Business Enterprise, certified with PennDOT and the transportation agencies. It sucks, but that's how it is. So even more important to make sure you do your research, because I don't want to have to go through the certification process with someone that only wants to do business with PennDOT, and PennDOT said, oh, you have to get certified, meaning they want to certify you directly. I don't want to waste your time taking you through the WBENC certification process. So just really know who you want to work with, and that will help you find out which certificates you need and whether this certificate is right for you. So moving along. And I should just also mention on that front too, if you do get PennDOT certified, that's often not transferable elsewhere. So same thing with like the state of Pennsylvania. If you get registered in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, that does not qualify you to say, I am certified in all of Pennsylvania and can now work with any corporation or government agency in Pennsylvania. It's just for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Again, very frustrating, but that's why if you're looking to work with corporations, WBENC is really, really great. And there are a certain number of government agencies as well that accept WBENC. So the city of Philadelphia, the state of Delaware, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania actually does accept WBENC. So again, just do your research. Moving along. Number 3, being a diverse supplier does not guarantee you contracts. What it does is it helps to level the playing field. So you still have to have a superior product or service, great pricing. You still have to get out there and market yourself and, make contacts. But the idea behind supplier diversity is that it helps those, small women-owned or diverse-owned businesses get an in and level that playing field. It's an equalizer. So a lot of people will say, I got my certificate, I've had it for a year now, I haven't gotten any contracts. And I say to them, well, have you, done any networking with it? Have you uploaded your certificate to any portals? Which is kind of going into number 4. As I mentioned before, a lot of these supplier diversity programs, the corporations have their own internal portal. And while we have our own database of the thousands and thousands of businesses that get certified, and I get emails all the time from corporates saying, hey, I'm specifically looking for someone to do utilities work in Allegheny County, and I'll be able to pull that list and send it off to them. A lot of times procurement folks will just go right into their own internal database. So I'll always say to people, Take a look at your target clients, find out if they have their own internal supplier diversity database, upload your certificate there. Do they have any supplier diversity events that you should attend? You still got to network, and it's a marketing tool for you, and it helps to level the playing field and get you that in. We give you the door, you have to go through the door. Number 5, being a WBE is just one of a bunch of ways to be a diverse business. So I mentioned earlier that you can also get certified as a minority-owned business. You can get certified as a veteran-owned business, as a disability-owned business, as an LGBT-owned business. There are a few different national certifiers out there, and I enjoy working with all of them because we have similar networks and we all have similar goals. So if you do qualify, if you are a veteran or disabled or minority, and are interested in pursuing those other certificates, I encourage you to as well, because you never know, it's just another network to get involved in. But when you get to a potential client and they say, are you certified as a diverse supplier? You can say yes, regardless of which certificate you have. If you have your MBE, your Minority Business Enterprise, your WBE, your Women's Business Enterprise, your VBE, Veterans Business Enterprise, regardless of which certificate you have, you say, yes, I am certified as a diverse supplier. So that is what it means when someone asks that. Number 6, supplier diversity is not goodwill, it's good business sense. So Ernst & Young did a study about 3 years ago that showed that for every $1 spent by corporations on supplier diversity, they got a 3 times return, because you are hiring new businesses, you are getting new ideas, you are diversifying the people and products that you work with. And last but not least, small businesses can have supplier diversity goals too. So you can choose this year to hire an accountant from a women-owned business or a minority-owned business or a disability-owned business to help with taxes. Or if you're interested in redoing your website, hire a women-owned graphic designer. I always say to people, when they're like, I'm having trouble getting in with the corporates, don't forget about the thousands and thousands of other women-owned businesses out there that could potentially be your clients too, because a lot of women business owners want to work with other women business owners. So I hope that gives you a good peek into the world of supplier diversity and why you would want to get certified. And it helps you to answer that question, is certification right for me? So we're going to pause and take this little self-assessment right now. First and foremost, is your product or service targeted at corporations, retail, government agencies? If you are product-based, are you looking at doing wholesale? Would you want to get your products into, a Walmart or a giant supermarket? If the answer is yes, this is right for you. There are some product-based businesses that are customer-focused that do get certified, but I would say overwhelmingly the biggest benefit is going to be B2B, business to business businesses that really benefit the most, because it's all about supplier diversity. Do you have the capacity to provide good service to corporations and government agencies? Are you at that point yet with your business, or are you still kind of in the setting things up stage? If you are, that's totally fine. Maybe this is something you want to pursue in a year or two when your business is there. Sometimes you may actually need the certificate to get your first contracts. And we see that all the time. I will certify businesses that are, just launched 6 months ago, and they're like, I'm really trying to get into construction contracting and no one will hire me until I get my WBE. That is totally fine. We will certify you. There's no length and time limits on how long you've been in business. Number 3, are you willing to share everything with us about your business? I'm talking like your tax returns, legal documents, your board minutes, your payroll. We will ask for pretty much everything, and I'll go into detail later about what documents we specifically ask for. But if we ask for something, there's a reason that we're asking for it, because believe it or not, it really helps us understand who is running the business. And last, just be clear that it's a marketing, it's a networking tool. It helps to level the playing field. So don't go into this thinking business is just going to land in my lap. You know, if you are looking to expand and to grow your client base in corporations or government agencies, then the certification may be right for you. So there are a lot of benefits that you get out of it. You know, first and foremost, just getting into the supplier diversity world. You'll get that certificate that you can then upload to supplier diversity portals. We have a seal and a logo that a lot of people put on their business cards. It's very well recognized in the supplier diversity world. You get access to our directory of supplier diversity and procurement executives at all of our corporations. You as your business get included in our database as well. So when I get an email from a corporate saying, hey, I'm looking for XYZ, you'll come up. We do a ton of events, a ton of networking events, both on a local and a national level to get you a handshake, actually. You know, obviously not right now with COVID, but eventually we'll get back there. So it's just a really great network to be involved in as well. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of the certification itself. So what is a WBE?
Colleen,
yes.
There's one question before you move on to there.
Great.
Mary has put a question into the chat box.
Sure. We provide job coaching services for adults with disabilities and tutoring for individuals participants. We look to partner with corporations and local small businesses. Yes. So we certify every industry, every business type out there. So, you know, as long as you are looking to partner with corporations or organizations that have supplier diversity programs, this is probably right for you. So, Mary, what I would recommend is you take a look at some of those corporations, whether they're, you know, hospitals or, you know, counties, whoever you're looking to work with, and find out if they have a supplier diversity program, and if you know, they are specifically looking to work with more diverse businesses, women-owned businesses. Because if the answer is yes, then likely this certification will benefit you. Okay, so what is a WBE? A Women's Business Enterprise. That's what it stands for. You'll hear a few of the other BEs, the VBEs and the MBEs. But a WBE validates that your business is 51% owned, operated, controlled by a woman or women. So it's not just owned, it is operated and controlled as well. And I'll go into that a little bit more. I'll get to additional questions in just a second. It helps to open those doors to the supplier diversity programs. And another big thing I want to point out is the whole business gets certified, not just the individual owner. So that means that any of your employees, if you have them, are welcome to participate in our events, are welcome to use the certificate to network. When we do our networking events with our corporates, you know, no one is going to bat an eye at a male sales manager who comes in. That is totally cool. Men, you are very, very welcome to all of our events. So specifically, when we get down to the eligibility, there are certain things you have to meet. First, you have to be a for-profit business. We don't certify nonprofits. And you have to be at least 51% owned. So depending on your business structure, this could mean if you have stocks, that 51% or more of stocks are owned by a woman or women. If you're an LLC, 51% or more is spelled out. Specifically, we're looking at, you know, your tax documents as well as your operating agreement. Obviously, sole proprietors, you're the only one, so you would be 100% owned by a woman. So 51%, we do not round up. The female owners must be U.S. citizens or legal permanent residents. A woman must hold the highest defined office. It does not have to be the 51% female owner, but it has to be a woman, and it has to be the highest office that's defined legally by your company. So if that's president, CEO, managing member, founder, whatever that title is, and take a look in your bylaws or operating agreement in the officers section, because it should tell you what that highest title is. And I say this specifically because a lot of times when small business owners are setting up their company, they will just use a standard template, either that they've gotten online or that their lawyer has used for their operating agreement or their bylaws. And they don't realize that the standard language is the president is the CEO of the company. That one sentence is in like pretty much every standard template. And what that means is the president is the head of the country, of the company, is the head honcho. So if you are the CEO and you have a male president, legally by your bylaws, he is in charge of the company. So you want to make sure that you take a look at your bylaws or operating agreement and find out who has the highest title, and is that me? And if it's not you, please right now, today, go and make an amendment to your bylaws and sign it as the majority owner of your company so that you are legally in control of your business. That is something we will look at. We look at other documents like managerial control. Are you or another woman the one that actually has management control? You know, depending on the size of your business, you know, if you have 50 employees, obviously you're not doing every little thing, but you at least know who is and, you know, can influence those decisions. The second to last one here, owner displays evidence of contribution of capital or expertise. We want to know basically, can this business run without you? Or is your expertise or contributions really the heart and soul behind this business? And lastly, is your business able to be independent and function on your own? This is really important because what we want to make sure is that the business is truly run and managed by a woman, and you know there isn't another male-owned company in the background that's pulling the puppet strings. You know, it's unfortunate that we do sometimes see fraud, and it's in our best interest, it's in your best interest to weed that out, because we want to make sure that the businesses we certify are truly women-owned, because we'd be doing our women business owners a disservice otherwise. So specifically, I'll give you some examples. Let's say that you know, a woman is ready to break off from the family business that her father has run forever, and she creates her own business. Now she is still, she legally has set up her own business and she's ready to go, but she's still getting pretty much all her customers from her father's business. She's using her father's equipment. You know, she shares an office space with her father. At that point, the business is not really independent yet. It is not able to function on its own, because if she didn't have her father's business there to help getting clients, to help with getting equipment, she wouldn't be able to run her business. Now, it's not saying in 2 to 3 years she'll be there, but right now the business is not truly independent. So we want to make sure that the businesses that we certify are all independent and able to function on their own. Now, otherwise, there is no length of time minimum, no industry types that we do not certify. There's no size limits. I have certified 100 employee companies and one woman show working at her dining room table. There is a huge, huge spectrum of businesses that we certify. I'm going to take a peek here at the questions. Small business owners often partake in supplier diversity. Yes, that is the reason that supplier diversity is there, is for small business owners to help get that leg up. I believe it's like 80% of the businesses we certify make under 5 million a year, and half of that, about 45% of the businesses we certify make under $1 million a year. So it's the vast majority of the businesses we certify are small businesses. Once certified, how easy is it to apply for federal and state grants? That's a tough question, because there are not a lot of grants out there right now. You know, there's obviously some stuff out there, the, you know, Paycheck Protection Program, you know, those federal loans. But I will talk about the federal contracting program in a second. But, you know, I would say, you know, grants is not really something that really applies to this, because the certification is really about bidding and getting contracts and getting into procurement, not as much getting into grant programs. Is a business not independent if she is subleasing? No, that you can lease, have your headquarters wherever. We just want to make sure that you as the business owner can decide, hey, I don't want to lease here anymore and go work somewhere else. You're the one that signed that contract, or who signed that contract, and you can get out of it if you want to. Again, it's about making sure that you have control of your business and that you are able to run your business on your own. I think that's all the questions I got for now. Great questions. All right, moving along. Now, I mentioned that I was going to talk a little bit about the federal contracting program, which I will right now. So WOSB is the Women-Owned Small Business. We offer this as an add-on certificate. It is specifically for federal contracting. So don't get fooled by the name. You're like, oh, I'm women-owned and a small business, I'm going to add it on. If you're not interested in federal contracting and you don't specifically meet one of their industries they're looking for, don't bother with the extra work. It is not worth it. So what is the WOSB? The Small Business Administration has gone through and pulled out a bunch of industries that they have deemed as, women needing a leg up in. And they have created this WOSB, Women-Owned Small Business Program. And it's specifically for industries and NACE codes. That's that code that you have on your taxes that are in traditionally male-dominated industries. So before you even apply for the WOSB, just Google WOSB NACE codes, NAICS codes, just to see if you qualify on there. And if you do, and you're interested in federal contracting, great, we will help you get the certificate. You used to be able to self-certify for this, and there was a lot of fraud. So last year, the SBA said, nope, we're not doing this anymore. And now there are two ways to get the WOSB, or the WOSB as we call it. You can apply through the SBA directly, and it is going to be a pain in the butt for you. And they just launched their new application about 4 or 5 months ago. So it's really brand new. They're still working out the kinks. Or we can file on your behalf. When you apply for the WOS or for the WBE with us, the first question on the application is, would you like us to add on the WOSB? If so, great. You upload your sam.gov registration on there and we will file on your behalf. It is 10,000 times easier than having to just deal with the SBA. So if you are interested in federal contracting, add that on. There are some eligibility requirements. So you must meet the criteria for WBE certification. So what I just went through. If you have not met that criteria, we will not certify you as WOSB because you need to be certified as a women-owned business first before you get certified as a women-owned small business. Again, you want to look up that NACE code and make sure that you're in an industry that is accepted by the SBA. You must devote a minimum of 30 hours a week to your business, and that is because the government wants to make sure that you're going to be there and available if they give you a contract. And you also have to be registered in the system for award management, sam.gov. It doesn't cost anything to register in that. It doesn't cost anything to add on the WOSB. We will add that on for you at no additional cost. You cannot add it halfway through the year. So if you're applying for the WBE now and you think you want to do federal contracting sometime this year, add it on this year. If you're like, meh, not this year, you can always add it on next year. That's totally fine, but you can't add it on mid-year. So that is the WOSB. That's that additional certificate that we offer for federal contracting. I'm going to pause a second, see if I have any questions. Since the certification seems to be appropriate for mostly securing contracts with large corporations, government entities, how beneficial has it been in your experience for the example of a single woman business owner working from her dining table? Great question. I would say it depends on the corporations that you're looking to get into. It depends on your, I don't want to say work ethic and getting out there, but honestly, that it does come down to that a lot of it, getting out into the supplier diversity world, participating in networking events, uploading your certificate places, getting to know some of those corporate members. I'm not lying when I say a third of the businesses that I certify work out of their home. They are, one woman show that are really kind of working on their own. So you're in good company. And, my advice to you would just be to do some research into your target corporations, find out, who you want to work with, and, then pursue that certificate if that's the right fit. So what does the application process look like? For the first time you apply, it will take about 3 to 4 months on average. Recertification is annual, and it is a much, much easier process. It does not take 3 to 4 months generally, unless you've had really big business changes. So why does it take 3 to 4 months? Well, we have 3 different phases that we go through. And the first phase is the longest phase. This is what we call documentation review. So you're going to send in everything, all of your documents all at once to us. And we're going to take about 2 to 3 weeks, and we're going to read through everything, because you're going to send us a 25-page operating agreement and tax returns and, minutes and all sorts of stuff. And we'll get back to you in about 2 weeks-ish, 2 or 3 weeks, with a bunch of questions, because while you've sent in the documents that we asked for, we don't know your business. We don't know what we're going to find. Maybe, we've found out that you are sharing space with another company that's in a similar industry. So we're going to ask about that. Is there any business relationship here there from an independent standpoint? Maybe we've noticed that you missed one document. So do not be dismayed when you see 5 to 10 questions come back from your reviewing officer. That is completely standard. That's us doing our due diligence. So that first phase is the longest phase, because a lot of it has to do with how complicated your business is, and also how quickly you get back to us. So if you are a sole proprietor, it will probably go a little bit quicker for you if you get the documents back to us than, let's say, someone who has 20 different stockholders that has a huge operating agreement. It really depends on how complicated your business is, and how quick you get back to us. So once we have no more questions, we will move you on to phase 2, which is our committee review. Our trained reviewers are all anonymous, and they meet twice a month. And we say 30 days just because they usually meet every 2 weeks. So if you just happen to get your last documents in on Thursday evening, the meeting's on Friday, you're probably not going to get into that meeting. So you're going to wait another 2 weeks. And then the last step we will let you know once the committee review is done is a site visit. Now, usually we do these in person. We have been doing them virtually for the last year due to COVID, of course. So it will generally be about a 1 hour one-on-one meeting between our site visitor and the female business owners. So if there's just one business owner, it would be you. If you have a co-business owner who is another woman, we would meet with both of you. But it's just going to be a one-on-one conversation where we can ask you questions about your business. You can ask us any questions. And it's a way for us to get to know you. And if there's, any additional questions, because sometimes we know, the documents don't tell the whole story about your business. Sometimes it takes a face-to-face conversation. So that is the last step. And then usually I would say within a week or so, you'll get the final decision, and hopefully you'll get an email that says, congratulations, you're now certified. So that is the whole process. Now, there is a cost to apply. If you make under $1 million in gross receipts per year, it is $350 a year. This is an annual fee, and it all goes on a sliding scale based on your gross receipts. Now, it's not gross profit, it's gross receipts that you report on your taxes. So just keep in mind that it's a processing fee. It pays for all the staff time and the hours of us going through your application and reading things and getting on the phone and talking to you. It does not guarantee certification, And it's not refundable if halfway through the process you say, you know, I don't want to pursue this anymore because we've already spent hours reviewing your application. So just keep that in mind. We take privacy very, very seriously. And I wanted to touch base on this before I get into the documents that you need to send, because there are a lot of sensitive documents that we ask for. Now, we are entirely green. Everything that you send to us goes through our encrypted portal online. We do not take anything in hard copy. We don't print anything out. You know, we don't like to accept faxes. We don't like to accept emails. Everything should be uploaded through the portal. All of our staff and all of our reviewers already signed confidentiality agreements, and your application is not going to be looked at by anyone besides your reviewers. So any of that sensitive information that you send will never become publicly available. The only stuff that becomes publicly available is your public information that you would want potential contracts to know in order to do business with you. So your business name, your website, your business description, your name, things like that. If certification is discontinued for any reason, we purge all of those records. So you need to make sure you recertify 6 months, don't let it lapse for more than 6 months, because if you have been expired for more than 6 months and haven't renewed, we will purge that certification, and then you're going to have to start over as a new applicant, and nobody wants to do that. Same thing also if you start the application and you kind of just forget about it or decide, you know what, I'm not going to pursue this. If you have not submitted it after 90 days, it will get deleted. And there's no way, no physical way that I can get it back for you. So please, if you start the application process, submit it within 90 days. Does it cost more money each year to recertify? Nope, as long as you are in that same sliding scale, it is the same fee each year. And also, last thing, we will only discuss your application with who we are allowed to. So you as the business owner, or there's also a question in the application, number 17, that asks for additional application contacts. So if you have an administrator or a CFO or someone who's helping you with the application that you would like to give us permission to work with, that would be great, because otherwise I will not discuss confidential information with someone who emails me with your company's name in their signature saying, hey, can you, I heard we had to give these additional documents. I'm going to check with you first and say, just making sure this is cool. Now, that being said, here's how we're going to get started. So this is what it looks like in the application. You're going to go on that bottom left-hand side, apply or renew for certification. And on your dashboard, you'll be able to get back into that if you log out at any time, which you are able to log out. Again, I said you have 90 days to complete the application. And then you're going to be taken to this page where it shows any of your past or current applications. So you'll click process. I know it's really tiny on there on the screen right now, but it's pretty quick to learn. And then on here, you'll see all of these steps. It says the little red arrows there, incomplete, shows everything that you've completed in the application and what you still have to either upload or questions you have to answer. Now, in that red box there, it also tells you the date for deletion. Remember, I said 90 days. So if you see that on there, know that that is the date that you need to send it in by. And if you're not going to get it in by 90 days, please shoot me an email so I can extend it for you. I can extend that deadline. But if you email me with like 12 hours left and I don't see it before then and it gets deleted, there's no way I can recover it. So just keep an eye out for that. All right, so what documents do you need? I put that link up there and you'll have access to these slides. So you'll be able to see specifically what you need. A lot of it's based on your business structure, but there are some kind of high level things that everyone needs. So legal and governance documents. We're going to ask for your articles of incorporation. If you are a stock corporation, we'll ask for the ledger and the stock certificates, both sides. We'll also ask for your bylaws. If you're an LLC, we will ask for your operating agreement. Under owner eligibility, we will ask for your driver's license or similar document, passport, birth certificate, something that verifies your gender for us. And we will also ask for the resumes of all owners and directors. And this is because we want to know who is running the business and do they have the expertise to run the business. Again, it goes back to our eligibility. Financial structure. We need 3 full years of tax returns. Now, some of you may be thinking, what if I don't have these? I will get into my tips for new business owners in a second. We will ask for a balance sheet, your most recent balance sheet. We'll ask for a profit loss statement, bank signature cards. There's a lot of financial documents that we ask for. Again, go to that link up there and take a look here on what you need based on your legal structure. And then personnel, we'll ask for W-2s, your list of employees, payroll documentation, but you do not need to send all this in again next year for your recertification. Recertification will basically just say, send us your updated taxes and financials and any additional documents for things that have changed. So if you haven't moved your headquarters, you do not need to resend us that lease. If you haven't hired a brand new VP, you don't need to send us your resumes of your, VPs. It's really all that first year. Recertification, we want to know what's changed. So if you're a brand new business or you're saying, I don't know what to do, I don't have some of these documents, here are some of my tips for you. First and foremost, the governance, eligibility stuff, all of that high level stuff applies to everyone. So we will still ask for, your bylaws if you have them, your stock certificates if you have them. So there's no getting around that. Contribution of capital. Sometimes when business owners start their business, they put $10 into their business bank account. Send us that proof of contribution. That is totally fine. Whether it's a copy of a check or a opening bank statement, even just a statement saying, I, began my business with $500 in my bank account, like just something. It's one of those tricky ones. 3 full years of tax returns. Now, if you do not have 3 years of company tax returns because you just started last year, you can send us personal tax returns. And by personal, I mean the first 2 pages. We don't need to see all your dependents and donations and stuff. And you can redact sensitive information like your social security number, your partner's name, whatever. But we will need 3 years of tax returns. So if you started your business in 2019, you have 2019 corporate taxes. You can send us 18 and 17 personal taxes. If you file for your business on your personal taxes, we will need those personal taxes plus your Schedule C, which is your profit loss of business for 3 years. Now, I know it's still early in 2021. Most of you probably do not have your 2020 taxes. That's totally fine. Send us 17, 18, 19. We have very few people that are sending us 2020 taxes right now. Balance sheet and profit loss statement. If you've just gotten started, send them, even if they're short and covered in zeros. That is totally fine. These are documents that you will need as business owners. So, we can't waive them. So pull together that template, get one started, and put in those basic numbers of where you are right now in your business. Other things that may not apply to you, W-2s, payroll information, employee information, lease agreements, loan agreements. These are things you may not have. You may not have employees. You may be working out of your home. You may not have any loans. That's totally fine. What I usually recommend is that you just upload like a Word document that says, I don't have any employees. Nice and simple. And what that does is it just makes it a little bit faster for your reviewer. So, if I'm reviewing an application and I'm looking and on one hand, there's an application that just has NA checked off on everything. I might go back and say, do you have any employees? If so, can you upload any documents? Or on the other hand, I have a business that has a nice little Word doc that's been uploaded that says, I don't have any employees. And to me, I'm like, oh, great. I don't have to ask about that. Awesome.
Colleen, we do have a few questions that are in the chat box.
Yep. I see that right now. Let's see. Cost of renewal. That was on one of the previous slides. If you make under $1 million a year, it is $350 every year. Is there any other criteria for certification except being women owned and operated? It's everything that was under that eligibility criteria. So it has to be independently functioned. You may want to just take a look at that slide once we send them out. Let's see. Minority, thank you, Mercedes. My business has been severely affected by COVID. Is that taken into consideration when approving certification? So we do not have any eligibility clauses about how much money you make, how many clients you have. I have certified businesses that have made no money yet and that have zero on their profit loss statement. And that's totally fine. We know that so many people are getting hard hit by COVID, but also sometimes people are just starting up their business and they haven't had a major client yet. That's totally fine. We do not take that into consideration in terms of denials. And the only reason that you would be denied is if you do not meet one of those eligibility requirements. We have in our standards and procedures things specifically laid out, and I've shared that link with Mercedes, and I can send that out to anyone who wants it. But there are specific clauses of eligibility, and if we deny a business, it has to be because of one of those clauses, and we have to have documentation evidence of that. We do never deny someone based on a gut feeling. I don't pay taxes. Alethea, that might be something we would have to talk through, because we are required to have 3 years of tax returns. So that might be something we would need to talk about offline. How does the financial information affect that I'm a woman-owned business? That's a great question. So specifically, I'll give you an example. Let's say on a balance sheet, you have a line of credit on there, and we want to see that agreement of that line of credit, because sometimes, depending on who your creditor is, if there are certain clauses that could impact you as a business owner if you're not able to financially meet your obligations. So those are the kind of things that we look for. On tax returns specifically, we're not necessarily looking at the number of how much you made. We're looking at the schedules of what is the ownership, because that Schedule K on a corporate tax return says what percentage that you own, and that should match up what you said in your application. So there are things in those financials that we specifically look for that do impact how your eligibility as a woman-owned business. Is it too soon to start the process when I'm still in the startup phase? It really depends on where you are in the startup phase. I mentioned earlier, you want to be able to provide service to clients. So if you're at that startup point where you are ready to begin taking contracts and clients, then it may be right for you to get certification. But if you're not there yet, that you're not ready to start networking, if you're thinking to yourself, if someone offered me a contract right now and said, shake my hand, let's do it, and I'm not ready for that, you're probably not ready for certification yet. I think I got to them all. I know I'm getting towards the end of the hour. I have a few more slides left, so I just want to quickly go through. These are all fantastic questions, and I'm happy to stay on as long as is needed for more questions. I don't have anything else the rest of the afternoon. So 10 tips I have for you guys. First of all, create the application in your name as the female business owner. Sometimes we have administrators that will create the application under their name. Please make sure it's created under your name. Number two, remember that the public information that you submit to us, your business's name, your business description, will go into the directory. So Type in upper and lowercase letters. Make sure your business is spelled correctly. You would be shocked by how many people spell their own business's name wrong in their application. You know, put in a good business description with your keywords in your application. Number 3, submit as many documents as you can in that application. If you're thinking to yourself, you know I have this document somewhere, I don't really know where it is, I'm just going to submit it. It actually is just going to take longer because we're going to go through and we're going to say, oh, they didn't submit this document. We're going to have to send that Q&A. You're going to have to get back to us. It's just going to take a little bit longer. Number 4, take a look at your operating agreement and bylaws. What I talked about earlier with the with that highest title on there, make sure that you hold that highest title. Another thing also to take a look out for are unanimous consent clauses. A lot of times bylaws and a standard template will have a clause that says all owners must be unanimous in agreement in order to do X, Y, Z. And what that does, it has limited your ability to make that decision as the majority owner. So if you have like a 10% male owner who, it doesn't even matter if they're involved in the business or not, they can veto your decision on that because of that unanimous consent clause. So we want to make sure you don't have any of those. So just do yourself a favor, do a search in your document for the word unanimous and make an amendment and get rid of it. Number 5, do not submit the application until you have reviewed everything for accuracy. Sometimes, again, if an administrator is doing it, I can't tell you how many applications I review where I'll reach out to the owner and say, hey, I saw, this was submitted, and they'll say, that's not right. Why is that there? Please make sure you're looking at the application and reviewing it for accuracy. Come on. There we go. Pay that processing fee by credit card rather than check. You can pay it by check. I would say that 98% of people pay it by credit card. It's just one extra little fast step to get it in because we're not going to start processing it until we get the payment. And sometimes mail is very slow, especially right now. So just pay by credit card. Whitelist this email. WeBankLink at webanklink.org. It sounds funny. It kind of sounds like spam. It's not. That's the email that any questions from your reviewing officer is going to come from. And that is because we do everything in that portal. So any requests for documents, any questions we have, we want to make sure that those are all kept in a safe place and that they're tied to your application. So we will send that through the portal and you'll get a auto notice from that email saying, you have a question from your reviewing officer, or you have passed committee review. You're ready for a site visit. Make sure you're getting those emails. Number 8 is like my biggest tip in terms of getting things done quickly. Send that response to your Q&A as one big response, because as I mentioned, you're going to get a question with like 5 or 7 or 8 questions or requests for additional document. And sometimes people will say, okay, I can answer this now and send this now, and I'll get that later. And they think that will make things move along faster. It actually doesn't. It actually makes it move slower because then I or any of my reviewers have to go in and figure out what's still missing and then open up another Q&A. What we want to do is be able to go back in, see that our Q&A has been answered. All 5 questions have been answered. We say, great, all of our boxes have been checked. All of my questions are now answered. I'm going to move you right along. So we don't have to go back and forth with this Q&A process. We'll wrap it up and keep it going. Number 9, be flexible when it comes to scheduling your site visit. We will try to get it done for you as fast as possible, but we process over 1,500 applications every year. So we are doing our best to get our site visitors scheduled with you. And lastly, just remember that the process takes about 3 to 4 months because that's really what it does. I'm always happy to update you on where you are in the process. And we try to get things moving as fast as we possibly can. But just know that this is really the process and we can't skip any steps. I just want to quickly go over what's next once you get certified. Let me make sure, any questions? Is there a way to get an idea of the networking events before we start the certification process? Sure, absolutely. I think I have this in my my presentation, I'll talk about some of the events that we do. Let's see. Oh, and yes, thank you, Mercedes. You can also go on our website, webeckies.com/events, and get an idea of what we have going on. Some steps, recommendations I have once you get certified. I do another webinar called Maximizing that is all about what happens next. How do I use my certification? You know, start marketing yourself by adding the logos to your business cards, you know, doing your research into your target corporations. We have a directory, check it out, find out who's in there, take a look at the different corporate members. You'll actually get an email of people in there. Now, I say in a caveat, an email, I'm sure they get like 50 outreach emails a day from women-owned businesses, but it's potentially, just another in. Upload your certificate to supplier diversity portals, come out to our events, and build those relationships. It's really all about, you know, building those connections. Okay, so some of the events, let me see, do I talk? All right, I took out my in-person event slide because we're not doing those for a while and we haven't for a year. But what we usually do in person are some local events. We call them meet and greets, where it's basically like speed dating for business owners. And we'll have the corporates at, like, let's say we have 10 different corporates at an event. And it's like a Women's History Month luncheon. Once the program's over, we'll move into the meet and greet portion of the event. And we'll say, okay, all 10 corporates are at these 10 different tables. You as the business owners can go and sit at that table and you know, pitch your business, ask questions. In 10 minutes, we ring a bell, you go find a new table. It's a really great way to meet a ton of people. Thanks, Mary. Feel free to email me if you have any questions or if I can help in any way. Any other questions? Okay, good. There are also national events. So if you are, you know, really interested in getting outside of our small territory, the 2 national conferences usually bring thousands of business owners out and tons of corporations. They're quite overwhelming in an exciting way. I always suggest coming out to local networking events first before you jump into the national events. But what are we doing right now? Because obviously it's COVID times. So in lieu of those meet and greet speed dating, we're doing what's called doing business with corporates, where we've allowed our corporate members to host a Zoom meeting, which is kind of similar to what they would be doing at the meet and greets anyway. They're going to answer questions about their procurement processes, tell you about their organization and how to get involved in their supplier diversity programs. We have a bunch of those up right now. You don't have to be certified to check them out. So if you are interested in kind of seeing what it's like to engage in a supplier diversity program and you know what you could potentially be getting into with corporations, check it out. You know, just go on our website, webeckies.com/events, and you can register for any of these programs. We're doing a lot of webinars on COVID resources, just general business resources. We do some networking as well for our certified businesses. Once you get these slides, these are just some links for those of you, if anyone is certified on here, just to help you get started. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, State of Delaware, places you can upload your certificates. These are the 2 different logos and seals that you can put onto your business cards, very well recognized. A lot of the stuff is not going to apply to you yet if you're not certified. Recertification, I do want to touch on. You do have to recertify every year. You can apply up to 120 days before you expire, and your expiration date never changes. So if you got certified today, February 23rd, you always will expire every year on February 23rd, no matter if you recertify early or late. So if you forget and it's March 1st and you say, oh my gosh, I forgot, and you send it in and it goes through in like 3 or 4 weeks, you're still going to have the expiration of February 23rd. So get it on your calendar. Send in that recertification 120 days before you expire. That way, you don't have to worry about expiring. Certification, we say generally 30 days, unless you've had some big business changes. So you've changed ownership, you've changed your headquarters, anything like that. then we will send you through that committee review. And again, they meet twice a month. So if you haven't had any big business changes, it should go through fairly quickly. We do site visits every 3 years. So if you know it's your lucky year, just kind of anticipate a couple weeks just so we can get you hooked up with a site visitor. If you do expire or apply late after your renewal has passed, we are happy to provide a letter of good standing as long as you have your renewal in.
Colleen, do you proactively reach out to those for renewal?
Yes.
Or yeah, you do.
Yep. We will start sending you emails 4 months ahead of time, and we'll say you have 90 days to expire, 60 days, 30 days, you've been expired for 30 days, and you'll get auto emails from the system. We'll be emailing you. It is in our best interest to serve you guys. We want to make sure that you're taken care of too. So yes, we will do our best to remind you. We also encourage you to just connect with us. We're always posting about events, opportunities, resources. There's a lot of other organizations like SCORE that we partner with that we help to promote. So, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, sign up for our newsletter. We're always sending out resources that we think may be useful to our business owners, because that's ultimately our mission as a nonprofit, is to support you guys. All right, so I finally made it to the end. Takeaways that I want you to kind of leave with. Certification is best if you are a B2B, business to business organization, and if you are targeting corporate and government clients. So you want to make sure you do your research into your target clients, find out if they accept WBE certificates, if they have a supplier diversity program, before you get any certificate. You must be independent, for-profit, 51% owned, managed, controlled, run the day-to-day, know how to run your business by a woman or women. Process generally takes about 3 to 4 months for your first year. And remember, you have to recertify every year. You can send that in 3 to 4 months before you expire, and it will not impact your expiration date. It stays the same. Certification will open up doors to you. So as I mentioned, we give you that door, you have to walk through it. So it's not a magic ticket to get business, but it helps to level the playing field. I really just want to encourage you to, show up to events once we start getting back to in-person events, start networking with people, realize that sometimes it may take months or a couple of years to get a contract, but if you have kept up with a corporate member and they seem interested in you, and one day they say, I finally have that opportunity, I finally have this contract for you, it's worth it. But sometimes it takes time to get there. And please take advantage of the other resources that we have, especially our COVID consulting program. If you're a business owner in the greater Philadelphia area, any of the surrounding counties that's been impacted by COVID, and you're interested in talking with a financial planner or a marketing planner or someone, we have free consulting for you guys, no strings attached. It's really a fabulous program. So please always feel free to shoot me an email. I'm going to put my email in here, but Mercedes will also send it out as part of the slides. I am always happy to answer any questions or direct you to a member of my team. WeBetBeast.com. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. If I don't know the answer, I will find someone who does. So it has been such a pleasure talking with you guys. It has been really awesome, all these questions that I've gotten. So I will hang out for as long as you need if you have other questions. So thank you, Mercedes. I'll pass it back on to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Before everybody heads off, I just wanted to let folks know how to contact SCORE. If you want any type of free mentoring sessions as well, just for general business, you can go to our website at chesterdelco.score.org or call our administrative assistant at the phone number listed on the screen. And again, all of our mentoring services are free. And we do have offices, but we've been doing all of our mentoring virtually, and all of our programming right now has been virtual as well due to the pandemic. But happy to help in any way we can. And, you know, we work together with all of these different resource partners, the WEBEC, SCORE, business development centers. We all work together. We're really here to help promote the community and the small business owners. So we're here for you. So I will stop sharing. And if there are any further questions, please either enter them into chat or raise your hand. All right, I think folks are finished, and sorry we ran over, but it was such tremendous amount of good information, Colleen. Thank you so much, and thanks to everybody who attended. Again, you will be getting a copy of the presentation, a recording, as well as an extra resource list. So I hope you all found it very informative and helpful. And thank you again, Colleen.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great afternoon.